Hi everyone, this is Kimra Luna here with Asante Organics and welcome to this Wellness Warrior workshop. We are very excited to have you here today and tonight we are going to be talking about a very important topic, which is scheduling, how to have a method with your business. And it's something as people who are, what you'd call self-employed, you do have to really be a little bit self-motivated. And so we're going to talk about what things are working for us on this hangout tonight. So let's pass it over to Amanda. I know Amanda, she's been in the industry for a while, and she has some things that are working for her. So what's working for you, Amanda?
Thanks, Kimra. Hi, guys. Good evening. So glad to be on this incredible hangout. And I really, having a daily method of operation is so powerful. Not only if you work from home, but even if you're working at an office, if you're working on contract, whatever you do, it is so powerful to keep yourself organized. And as we all know, the benefits to being organized really releases a lot of stress and anxiety. I know when my calendar is not quite packed up, I start to feel a little bit anxious about it, going, okay, it's time to get my calendar going, time to get my schedule going. It helps with your productivity. It helps you to build for success as well as getting things done, checking them off your list, and also having a schedule gives you more time to do the things that you enjoy, because as important it is to have time for work, it's really important to have time for self-love, for play, for personal development, for exercising, for posting on Facebook, whatever it is. So I think this is such an incredible hangout for tonight, because not only that, it also helps build better relationships with your partner, with your husband, with your wife, with your children, when they know exactly what is happening. That's why it's very powerful even to have, a calendar in your kitchen. And I know, Kimra, you were talking about your kitchen calendar. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it over to you because this is really powerful. And I know that you viewers out there really need to hear about what Kimra does to keep things scheduled and routine in her household.
Yeah, as some of you may know, I have two little ones. I have a 4-year-old and a 2.5-year-old, and so things in the house can get a little bit hectic. And my husband, he still works his job during the day, so I have a big calendar hanging up in our kitchen. It's pretty big. It's like you can't miss it. It's a big calendar, and I write down, like, say I have this hangout tonight that I'm on, I make sure I have that on there so he knows ahead of time that I have something going on that night. So he knows that it's going to be a time that he's going to have to be taking care of the kids, so they're not interrupting me the whole time while I'm on this hangout, right? Same thing when I have follow-ups and things like that. I'll be typically Tuesday nights and Thursday nights, because we do have the live presentation on those nights. I usually have a lot of follow-ups on those days. So, I always make sure, I tell them, when you get home, from this time to this time, that's when I want to be following up with people. So I write it on the calendar so he knows, like, okay, I'm taking the kids out to the grocery store. I'm going to the park with them while I can get that stuff done. And so it's really important to have something like that so you could communicate with your spouse, with your kids, especially if older kids who are like in soccer and things like that. It's really great to have a calendar so that everybody can be on the same page and not be like surprised when something comes up. And plus, you can schedule in those times. Like my son, he always wants to know, when is mommy taking me to the park? When is mommy playing video games with me? He has like a special book he wants to read, because sometimes he'll want to read a book for like an hour, so it's like I gotta, schedule in, book reading time, because he wants to read for so long. So it's really important to have a schedule set up like that. And I know that Maya, her situation is a little bit different than mine. She actually she lives alone. She doesn't have, you know, the crazy hectic stuff going on like I have. So Maya, let's learn a little bit about how you schedule your time and your business into your schedule.
Oh, yeah. Hi, everybody. Well, yes, I live alone, and I don't have kids. I am alone in the U.S., other than my Asante family. But that basically means that if I don't put things in schedule, I could basically stay at the house in bed all day and nobody would bother me. So I actually also have a big schedule or calendar in the kitchen. That sort of is my overall things, my quick view of the month. But then I also have things that are scheduled every day. Like I go hiking nearly every morning. I schedule that in. I schedule my shower in. I schedule some book reading time, just for me, book reading time. I schedule in my cleaning stuff so that my day is organized. And then I can see where I can fit in the prospecting, where this is the time I'm spending on Facebook. This is the time I'm spending answering emails. This is the time when I do a lot of meetups. That's a way to get out of the house, and they're scheduled in. Every week on this day at this time I do that meetup. Every week at this time and this day I'm doing the meetup. So that is scheduled in just as well as if it was a job, because I'm seeing that as my way of getting out to people and get to prospect and talk to people, build relationships with people outside of the house. So that's my it's very organized.
Yeah, and that's super important that you mentioned Meetup. Meetup, if you guys don't know, people who are watching, you can go to meetup.com and you can pretty much find any sort, like just groups who do what it's called, Meetup. They meet up and sometimes they meet at coffee shops or people's houses and things like that, and they're people with similar interests as you. You can find book clubs on there, you can find law of attraction groups, you can find moms groups, you can find golf groups, anything that you can think of, there are groups on there, and you can even start your own. And that's what's so cool about that, is like you can even start your own community if you are having a hard time getting out of the house, finding ways to talk to people in person and build those relationships. So that's so awesome that you mentioned that, Maya, because that's an awesome tool for people to check out if they are looking for something in their local area, so they can start prospecting. And there are even what are called like networking meetups, and there's people who are actually in other network marketing businesses and they have meetups like that. So you could even go to those, and sometimes they even let you do like a 1-minute little blurb about your business and things like that, and you could even go to those and get people's business cards and start talking to them and build relationships with them. So
Absolutely.
so it's all about that relationship building, and that's really, really, really powerful. And something I wanted to talk about too that I just started using just a few months ago as my business was like really picking up. The most important thing for me is follow-ups. I know some people are just like, well, isn't it, going out and talking to people that's the most important? And yes, that is. I do make sure I schedule in time. Most people probably know I use a lot of Facebook to talk to people, and I actually schedule that in. Like it's literally like from this time to this time, that is when I'm actively, finding new people to talk to. And then I have this time to this time where I'm following up with a relationship, where I'm talking to people that I've already talked to a few days ago and seeing what's going on with them and commenting on their page and liking their stuff and building that relationship with them some more. Absolutely. Then I have my follow-ups. Follow-ups, like typically on Wednesday particularly, I usually have a lot of follow-ups because I do send a lot of people to our Tuesday night presentation. So Wednesdays, that's like my follow-up day. Like I'm usually following up for usually about an hour and a half to 2 hours on that day. I'll be following up with people. So it's very important to have it written down. And I have noticed, because I'm a person where I'm a little bit of a space cadet, I forget things, okay? It's just something that happens to me. And, my husband can vouch for that. And if I don't write it down or have it in a schedule, I literally forget to do it. And there's been so many times where I would have a person who I'm like, oh my gosh, this person would be so great on my team. Like, they're awesome. And then I totally forgot to follow up with them, and then it's like weeks later, and then I feel like a weirdo if I try to contact them again, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, if I would just put that in my calendar, you know, they might have signed up on my team. So putting it in your calendar makes you actually do it. The calendar that I like to use is called Google Calendar, which is free, and if you have a Gmail account, you can just punch everything right into there. You can even color code things. Like, I use different colors for things, so I kind of keep my calendar kind of fun. And it also will send you reminders. You could have it so it sends you email reminders. You could have it so it sends reminders to your phone, or you could have it so, like, if you have a computer, it can send like little blurbs that go across the screen that gives you like a reminder. Like, I'll have a reminder that's like, oh, make sure you hop on the call like 10 minutes before the call, so that way I know when the calls are. And I do like to schedule in, like how Amanda said, personal development. That's something that's very important to me. I have my books. I have stacks of them. I have piles of them right here. I have stacks of my books. And so I like to schedule that in. And that's very, very important for me, for my business. So, Amanda, do you have any things that are so important that you schedule in? Like you have to do it every single day so that you can run your business smoothly.
Absolutely, Kimra. Actually, Maya said it best. Working from home, you got to schedule in even time to take a shower. So definitely gym time, definitely personal development. But you need to have a structured schedule when it's time to get down to business, time to get busy, your three-way calls, times with your team members if you have any accountability calls. Like Kimra, you said it beautifully, the fruit is in the follow-up. Absolutely. I always schedule all that in. So anything that's work-related, I put it all in green in my calendar. And the calendar that I use, because I used to be paper-based and I actually just switched over just less than a year ago. I've gone to iMac. I have a Mac computer, and I love the iMac. It syncs directly to my phone. It's really easy. I always put reminders, especially if I have follow-up calls or any three-way calls that I'm doing or any closing calls. I make sure I give myself at least a 15-minute alert just to say, okay, time to get ready, make sure everything, that I'm ready for everything. Anything to do with Facebook, I'm usually only on Facebook 3 to 4 times a day, because if not, as we all know, it can kind of just suck you up if you're not careful. And the thing is yes, I use Facebook primarily for business, but there are times where you'll just end up going through the feeds, and it's a never-ending pit. And then, there's benefits to everything, but there's also the drawbacks. I love Twitter as well, and time on Instagram, so I do schedule that stuff in. And you know what? I always schedule in time to make supper. I cook at home. I want to make sure that I have that time to spend with my family. I put that into my calendar. Anything family-oriented, everything goes in blue. Red is like, alert, don't forget that this is happening today. If I have a hangout with, team in Hawaii, I want to make sure that that is bolded, that I know I'm prepared for it. If I have something really urgent that needs to be done that day, maybe I have to prepare a schedule for something for Field Advisory Board, I've got to make sure that that's in red. If I'm training on the Monday night call, that's got to be in red. So it's really differentiating what colors work for you. Color is powerful, but yeah, I moved everything over to a digital calendar, synced it to my phone. It's easy as pie. I absolutely love it. So yeah, that's pretty much all for calendar structure for me.
Yeah, that's awesome, and a lot of people are switching over to digital calendars, but I know, Maya, you like to use paper calendars, right?
I'm still old-fashioned on paper, and I write down everything I do, and I have it listed out, and I check it off as I'm doing it. It's part of a victory thing that I can see is all checked off by the evening, and I feel I can reward myself with just sitting down and doing nothing. Just sit in front of the fire and just relax and have me time. I feel that's very important for me. And you know, this is as all of you have said, it is so important to schedule in the time of each thing that you do. Now, in the beginning, I've only been on Facebook a little over a year, and so in the beginning, it absolutely sucked me in. And then I used a timer in the beginning. So I absolutely had a little egg timer, and I put, okay, I have an hour, I can do this, and I put the timer on. And when that went off, sorry, you got to move on. And that was very helpful in the beginning to use that timer, because otherwise suddenly I discovered it was, you know, several hours later. So I would suggest use a timer until you start developing timer in your mind, or put your timer on your phone or whatever have you. But absolutely have a timer so that your time doesn't get sucked up by doing things where you should do other things, because you need to do the follow-up. And what I would say is that have time for follow-up on the day, but also have time to go out and meet people, have time to get introduced to new people every day, so that you don't have a day where you're not following up and then you get a lapse in between. Like Kimra was saying, that it feels a little funny if you then discover a week later that, oops, I forgot to follow up on this person. It's difficult to get back. So that's what I suggest, that you have time set aside both for new connection and for follow-up each day, so that you get all of those things in each day.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I liked how you talked about how it's like it feels rewarding to be able to check everything off the list. And that's really how I am too. Like I like to write down, you know, like today I want to, you know, talk to 10 people. And when I check that off, that I talked to 10 people, I feel like a rock star. I'm like, yeah, I did it, you know, like I'm feeling awesome because I did it, you know. And so it is a way to feel progress, you know. And I think sometimes people, because they don't have a schedule or they don't make a list and check things off, they can kind of feel like, oh, well, nothing is happening, I'm not progressing at all. And when you have that checklist, if you have your calendar to cross things off, it makes you feel good, like you accomplished something. And that's really, really awesome that you pointed that out. I'm so happy that you did, because I didn't even really think about that. But now when I think about it with me, it's like I do feel awesome when I finish, you know, what I wrote on my calendar that I said I was going to do. So yeah, so that is so awesome, and I'm so grateful for that, you know. Like I don't know, I guess I just didn't think about it that way.
Another thing that I suggest is do your schedule for the next day, the day before, because when during the night your mind will organizing and be thinking about the procedure that you're going to be doing with the scheduling and what you're going to be doing and how you're going to tackle it. So I would suggest do it the night before at least, and then have a look at it, and so then go to bed and know your mind will then organize it during the night while you're sleeping. You might as well put it to work while you're sleeping. Because the mind doesn't stop thinking. So that's a powerful tip, to do the schedule so that you get the mind to work on it while you're sleeping.
I totally agree. I totally agree, Maya. If I could cut in just right here, I do that before I go to bed at night. My calendar is set, and you know what? I sleep a lot better because I know what's happening the next day. I set my alarm. I am ready for success. And Kimra, you mentioned how many people that you talk to on a daily basis. What I started doing since the Great Green Event is actually putting a box on my calendar and writing in the number of people that I talked to that day. That is really, really a powerful way of keeping track of how many people you're talking to on a daily basis. Because, yes, this is a numbers game, right? It is a numbers game. It's all about talking to people. How many people are you talking to? Put a challenge up for yourself, saying like, I'm going to talk to 5 people today. I'm going to talk to 10 people tomorrow, and always schedule in the follow-ups for that. And Kimra, you even had mentioned something that's really great. You know, the day after the overview, you schedule in time for your follow-ups, because you invite a tremendous amount of people to the live overviews, and that is really, really powerful. I just love everything that's happening here on this Hangout tonight.
Yeah, that's been something that's been kind of crucial for me, you know, and that Tuesday night, particularly the Tuesday night one, has a lot of people have signed up on my team from watching that. And so I know that if I didn't follow up with them that next day, because it is kind of late my time, it starts at 10 o'clock my time, so it is kind of late for me to be following up with people like right after it's over. But if it's, you know, if I follow up with them like right away, first thing in the morning, boom, they see the message from me, and I'm like, oh, hey, you know, here's my number, like let's chat, let's see, you know, how you enjoyed it, and tons of them they respond, they love it, and even if they don't sign up, they are actually happy that I followed up with them. They're just like, you know, that's awesome that you followed up with me. Like even when they don't want to sign up, they still are happy that I followed up with them, and so that makes me feel good that they understand that I genuinely care about them as a person enough to follow up with them, right? So I think this was amazing, amazing information. And earlier today, I was talking to Maya, and she was talking about planting seeds, and something that I do, like in my schedule, like how I had said, you know, like I set aside a time, like I'm gonna, you know, actively go and talk to, you know, 5 people. Like I'm gonna do that it's on my schedule. And when I do that, we like to call that I'm just planting seeds, because when you first talk to somebody, it's not like you're automatically just be like, oh, check out my amazing, awesome deal, right? So I would like Maya to give her really cool planting the seeds analogy that she had given me earlier today, because I thought it was just really awesome.
All right. Well, this idea really got clear to me when I moved to Arizona, because in Arizona we have 4 growing seasons. And so when we want to harvest something in spring, that is what is planted in the winter. And then in the spring, we plant what we harvest in the summer, and in the summer we plant what we harvest in the fall, and when in the fall we harvest what we harvest, or we plant what we harvest in the winter. And so basically, when you have those people that you're introducing, you're first talking to, you're first starting the communication with them, that's really planting seeds. And then you getting back to them and talking with them and just hearing how they're doing and learning about them and getting to know about them, that's you watering your garden. And then there will come a time where that seed has grown enough that it has now become ready to pick, ready to harvest. And basically, this is the thing, we don't have as of yet the knowledge of knowing how long time from we put the idea of talking to somebody till they sign up, how long time did that take? And it's not going to take exactly the same for every person, but we don't know how long time that's going to take. Some people is 6 months, some people is a year. But as long as you know that every time you talk to somebody new, just hearing how they're doing, what they are about, what they like, what they don't like, that's planting a seed. And then getting back to them and talking to them and keep that relationship going, that's you watering your seeds. And then it's going to flourish, it's going to be ready for harvest sooner or later. This is actually the law of gender. The law of gender states that every seed has a time of incubation and germination. And we don't know exactly how long time that is, so be aware that what seeds you're planting today, you may not see your harvest, so it can feel like you are planting seeds and you're not seeing any fruit of it. But don't get discouraged, because eventually your garden is going to flourish if you keep watering the plants. If you don't, follow up, talk to people, keep the communication going, well, then the plants are going to die. But in that you keep talking to them, you keep the communication going with them, your plant is going to flourish and you're going to be able to harvest it at a later time. So just be patient. Plant your seeds, keep watering it, and know that harvest is going to come.
That's incredible. I was like, when Maya told me that earlier, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a revelation. Like this is, it's just such a great analogy of it, because as a lot of people know, I love using Facebook. I love using Facebook, and a lot of people ask me, how long does it take for someone to sign up? And when I tell them, a lot of the time, 2 to 3 weeks, but most of the time, even longer than that. A majority of the time, it's literally a few months before a person, from my first initial contact with them, gets all the way to the end, watches a presentation, and wants to sign up. And some people might think that that's crazy, but it works. It works because I'm developing those relationships over and over and over, and I keep following up with people, I keep talking to them, and I have genuine relationships with them. And that's what really works. And that's exactly what Maya was talking about. Well, so that's awesome.
Yeah, you basically planted seeds for so long that you are now seeing harvest probably every single week now, because you've been planting seeds every week, and so those weeks you keep watering them, and so now you're harvesting every week.
Yeah, it's the compound effect. Absolutely. And another really great, Maya, I love that. I love your analogy. I read that also in a book called The Four Seasons of Life. That's powerful for success as well. That's a great book by Jim Rohn, and I totally agree. I mean, some people that have just recently joined me, literally, I've been talking to for over a year. So it's really planting, watering, building relationships, but building relationships genuinely, because, let's face it, not everybody is going to join us immediately. It sometimes takes a little bit of time, but at the same time, you don't want to forget that these are really relationships, right? So you want to really focus on those relationships as well. So that's really powerful. Another thing is time wasters, time wasting, distractions, right? That is something that can really take away from our daily method of operation, for sure. Can I get an amen? I know that
amen on that.
Things
I got confused.
Exactly, right? Things pop up all the time, and that's I know Robin Sharma always says distraction is the biggest thief of time, and that's true. So it's really minimize the distractions and remove the time wasters that are occurring in your life. It happens on a daily basis. So it's really important to put up that red flag and go, oh, okay, is this an income-generating activity right now? No, it's not. So let's wait to do this after hours. That's really important as well. Same with phones. There's times where if I'm really focusing on something, I'll put my phone on silent for an hour if I'm doing something, because when the phone rings, what do we want to do? We pick it up, right? It's just a natural instinct. Oh, Mom.
To ignore.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah, and that's actually why I turned the notifications, because my phone would send me the notifications whenever somebody sent me a Facebook message, and so I turned it off because every single time I'd want to check it, and my husband is like, "You're busy. Like, why are you checking?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just have to." It's like you feel like you just have to do it, and so I just turned the notifications off on like everything. I'm like, do not notify me when people send me messages. No notifications for emails. I mean, emails, I check those like once a day. I've gotten really good at emails. Emails, it's just like I check it once a day, first thing in the morning. Boom, boom, boom. I go through things, delete the stuff I don't want to read the stuff I want to read, and then I'm done. And, it's like you got to just be like bam, bam, like in and out of there. And I do the same thing like on Facebook. On Facebook, sometimes I'm on for quite a chunk of time, but I'll get off for a very long chunk of time also. And I like how Amanda said, do those things after hours. And so I have a few TV shows that I like, and I only watch them like literally at like 11 o'clock at night when there's no way I can be following up with people. You know what I mean? Or messaging people because everyone's asleep, right? So I make sure I do those things like super late at night if it's just like leisurely things that I want to do or catch up with or things like that. I do it late at night when I know there is no other real income producing activity I could be doing at that time, right? So does anybody else have anything else to share about schedules or time wasting or anything like that before we wrap up tonight?
No, I think I'm good. I want to make sure that we keep on time, so we can always follow up with another hangout if anything. Great.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being on here with me and sharing all your awesome expertise on calendars and scheduling and following up and everything. It's just been so incredible to have you guys here. And if you are watching this, start scheduling things in. If you schedule things in, your life will get so much easier. I promise you. I had to start doing it. Like it was like not even an option anymore. So thank you so much for watching this Wellness Warriors workshop, and we will see you next week here on this awesome Google Hangout. Bye.
Bye.